What you can expect in today's video is this cool Venn diagram that I made. It's my own little system for analyzing short horror films, and then a little bit of a case study on one particular short horror film, the Birch, that I found that I really like. My name's Asa. I'm a horror writer living in Mexico City, and on this channel I document what I'm working on, what I'm learning, anything else I feel like talking about on a given week. And today what I've been working on the last couple weeks is writing a short horror film. I've written 2 short horror films in the past, and I'm really proud of those, but I'm confident that this next one is actually going to be much better because until now I haven't done this kind of deep dive analysis into this form to see how it works, and I feel really good about this analysis. So without further ado, here is what I've dubbed the horror matrix. You can see here that there are 3 main parts to it. There's the core fear, the setup, and the technique. And of course, this could actually apply to any kind of feature film, but what's interesting about short horror films is that usually they really have singular kind of items for each of these, right? Because as we know, short films are so narrowed down to kind of one core idea. For the sake of clarification, for the sake of this video and getting all of our terms the same, I will reference a few feature films because they're so well known to help explain some of these ideas. So the first part of this Venn diagram that I want to talk about is the setup. This is super straightforward. It is what it sounds like, just kind of the who, what, where, why, when, how. The protagonist, your main character, the antagonist, the main antagonizing force. Where are we setting this story? The basic context, the elevator pitch of this short film. 2 friends battle it out in a bathroom and one stabs the other one. A woman gets a call from the ghost of her dead mother, etc. The next thing, and honestly probably the most important thing, is the core fear. So I'm really proud of this because I think that you can really slot almost any horror film into this chart. The easiest to understand physical safety is someone's life at stake. So this is your sort of slashers, Scream, Halloween, anything like that where it's so straightforward what's at stake. Someone's life is on the line. An emotional story, right, is something where there's the sort of essence of what's at stake is a relationship. I think Babadook is a great example for this. In that film, it's a mother and a son, and kind of the way that these 2 people are moving apart. And it's a horror movie, of course, but what's actually at stake is that relationship. Similarly, Midsommar, the Ari Aster film, that has a lot of, there's body horror, there's all kinds of things going on in there, but I would make the case that ultimately it's about a breakup. And then moving down the list, we have a mind, what's at stake in someone's mind. This, of course, is the world of psychological thrillers, all the different kind of films where someone's sanity is at stake. Repulsion comes to mind, the classic Roman Polanski film, more recently Saint Maud by the same director of It Lies Bleeding, if you saw that. Both of these films are about kind of the internal disintegration of someone's mind, and so what's at stake is a person's sanity. Finally, last but not least, we bring in kind of the worlds of existential horror, where someone's place or sense of self in the world is completely at stake. So I recently watched, I saw The TV Glow. I thought this was a great example of this. This young person's sense of identity has been completely upended, and there's a complete dissonance. Those are the kind of 4 different kinds of things that seem to be at stake in horror movies. And as I said, in short horror films, it's usually, but not always, kind of one of these. There's, of course, always going to be overlap between these various categories. That what makes something like artful and cool is kind of, it's a thriller, but it's actually a metaphor on whether or not there's God. All these things are kind of can engage, but in terms of learning about the form, I'm finding this helpful at least, is to try to kind of reduce, frankly, these films to kind of these little simplifications, to understand their foundations and kind of go up from there. So the setup is kind of what's going on. The core fear is like what's happening here, and the technique is what's in the writing, what's on the page that kind of gets us feeling whatever it is that the writer, director want us to be feeling in the core fear section. So there are a myriad of these, and if you master any one of these, you're in business. And I'm trying right now, again, this is just kind of a framework to learn. And so here's a big list of some of the things that I've observed in some of these films. And I'm not going to go through examples of each of them, but I think you know what I mean on each of these. And just to give you an example, let's run through one. This is a really easily found short film. It's called The Birch. I think it has like 20 million views on YouTube. It's about this young man, high school age it seems, who is bullied by a classmate, and he sort of enters a kind of pact with a tree spirit to protect him, and it comes with a cost. So if we look at this particular story, the setup is what I just described. Bully, kid needs to deal with the bully. The core fear and this is actually like really cool, because at first when I was doing my little notes about this, I thought, well, okay, well, it's safety. It's like the boy's in danger from the bully. But the more I watched it a couple times, there's kind of this tree spirit, there's a mother protector, there's a mother caretaker figure who clearly cares for this boy, who talks about kind of his broader safety. I think this is actually closer to kind of an existential fear. You know, the kid's summoning of this spirit is not just about this one bully, it's about being safe in the world. How this fear is achieved, you know, I think what really kind of blew me away about this particular film and inspired me, I want to try to find a way to use this in some of my projects, is the way that the writer writes non-linearly, right? So we kind of have flash forwards, there's images that pop in, it kind of cuts from conversation to conversation in this way. The story's not like once upon a time, a boy got bullied and the boy killed the bully. Right, it's this sort of elliptical kind of thing that gives us all this thematic overlap, and I thought that was a really excellent example of a technique at work. You know, I think there would have been ways to write this very same film using different techniques, and it would have been a very different film. But what made this, for me at least, pack such a punch is like all the different kind of thematic emotional elements were kind of coming at me at surprising times. So, you know, that was just sort of my quick analysis of how technique is used in this particular film. I'm actually already a couple drafts into my short horror film, which I'm so excited about, and I keep kind of going back to it after I watch more and more of these shorts, which is such a great feeling. You know, it's like doing your research, making yours better, doing the research. But anyway, next I'm probably going to share a video about how I'm actually going through the writing, a little bit about kind of inspiration and the way these films are structured. So if you kind of want to keep up with my short horror film moment right now, subscribe. There's more videos like that coming up. And I also would love recs. I found a lot, but if you have a good short film, a good short horror film or thriller that you have seen you like, put it in the comments and I'll take a look.